Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes, and today, for the first time on this channel, you don't join me from my sofa in my front room. I'm actually driving my girlfriend's car because I'm going to visit my parents today. Now today I want to talk about something that's lacking in the world. It's definitely something that I haven't had enough of, and it's something that I'm really trying to focus on nowadays. What I'm talking about is gratitude. So many people in the world today are just not grateful for what they've got, and although I believe everyone should be striving to make their lives better, you know, improve things mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, you know, in every way. You should be trying to improve your life and make the things in your life that you're not happy with better. But I also think it's equally as important to focus on the things you are grateful for. You know, be grateful for the good things that you do have in your life. No matter how hard life is, there will be things that you are happy with. So, you know, one of the things that I've been doing in this latest attempt to stay off of drink and drugs is journaling. And part of that is that I write down a few things every day that I'm grateful for. You know, it doesn't require loads of thought. You know, you don't have to come up with clever things, you know, just the simple things. You know, sometimes I'll write down that I'm grateful for my girlfriend, grateful that my parents are still alive, grateful for my health, you know, grateful for water, food, you know. Everyone's got something they are grateful for. And I think it's really important that everyone on a daily basis reminds themselves that they are grateful for these things. Because if you're gonna improve your life and obviously make things better, there's no point doing that unless you're able to be grateful for the good things in your life, because then you'll be one of these people that's never happy. You know, there's so many people in the world that have got everything and they're still not happy, and you don't want to turn into one of those. You know, you want to be the kind of person that's happy and content as much as you can be with whatever situation you're in, so that then when you do constantly improve things, you're going to be able to make the most of your improvements, you know, because you're going to be even more grateful for them. And then as time goes on and hopefully your life gets better and better and better and you improve more and more things, you become more and more and more grateful. And, you know, that's another sort of example where, you know, consistency, momentum can be awesome. You know, if you're in a sort of momentum of constantly becoming more grateful for things, then, you know, it snowballs, and then your life will get better and better and better, and then it will give you even more things to be more grateful and grateful for. Whereas if you're a negative person, you know, and even if you've got quite a lot going for you in your life, but you can't see it, then no matter how much things improve, you know, if things do improve, which is highly unlikely if you are sort of an ungrateful person, even if they did improve, you're not going to be grateful for those things. So you're not even going to be able to see it. So I think it's really important to identify things in your life that you want to improve, but on the other hand, simultaneously, be grateful for the things that you have already got. Now, just to add another sort of side to this, you know, I've got to the point where I'm trying to be grateful for the things that I do want to improve in my life. So if there is things that you're not happy about in your life, you know, once you've got to a point where you are actively being grateful for the things that you are happy with in your life, look at the things that you aren't happy with in your life as things to be grateful for as well. You know, if you've had a hard upbringing, be grateful for that, because that's going to form you into a stronger person, potentially, than someone who hasn't had a hard upbringing. You know, if you've, like me, are an addict and, you know, you're trying to overcome addiction, be grateful that you're an addict. You know, I'm grateful that I am an addict, because it means that right now I'm living a healthy life. I'm going to the gym near enough every day. I'm exercising at home every day. I'm eating healthily. I'm meditating. You know, I'm having cold showers. All these things that I've learned and decided to do in my life might not have happened if I wasn't an addict. If I didn't have that bad thing in my life to overcome, then I might not have dabbled in so many good things in my life. You know, I've been looking into all this self-improvement and stuff for years and years and years, even when I was deep in addiction. In the beginning, it was silly things like, you know, I want to be able to socialize with women, you know. Now, if I wasn't socially awkward, a bit of a coward, you know, scared to approach women, I wouldn't have learnt all these things that I did back then about, you know, trying to be more confident, not allowing your mind to hold you back, etc, etc, etc. And, you know, that sort of started the ball rolling with this whole self-improvement thing. And then, you know, sort of learning about health, about mental health, about, you know, so many other things. So, you know, be thankful for the things that are hard in your life, because without those, you're not going to become as strong a person as you probably want to. So yeah, sometimes literally when I'm writing my journal, I'm writing things down like, I'm grateful for my addiction. I'm grateful for the fact that I haven't lived up to my potential. You know, I'm grateful for the regrets that I've had, you know, in the past or whatever. You know, so, you know, be grateful for the bad things as well as the good things. But I would say before that, always try and be grateful for the things that you do have, you know, because if you're in a position where, you know, your mind is telling you that you haven't got anything to be grateful for, you know, and if you are in that position, it is your mind that's doing that to you, and you need to realize that your mind isn't you, yeah, and you need to sort of think of your mind as a separate entity, because it will stand in your way. It will lie to you. Your mind isn't you. Your mind has been built based on your past experiences, based on social conditioning, based on your influences that you've had up to now. You know, so you need to accept that your mind isn't always on your side. In fact, a lot of the time, most of the time, my mind isn't on my side. You know, all these sort of things that I'm trying to do to improve my life, a lot of it is going against my mind. You know, my mind wants to drag me into the past, or it wants to drag me into some future, you know, nonsense that isn't even true. Whereas when I sort of detach myself from my mind and live in the present moment as much as I can, that's when I see improvements, you know. So I sort of learned from a guy called Eckhart Tolle, actually. He's a German guy. It's quite an interesting story. Definitely go and look him up. Maybe I'll do a video explaining about his sort of journey, but he's the sort of first person I started watching where I first started sort of dabbling with meditation and stuff years and years and years ago, and I've never been as consistent with meditation than I am right now. You know, I'm still doing like meditation every morning, but yeah, he sort of come to the realization that, you know, he isn't his mind. He come to the realization when he decided, you know, years ago when he was younger, he got to a point in his life where it was like, I can't live with myself. And then he sort of had an epiphany, and it was like, right, if I can't live with myself, that means that I and the self are two separate things. And then, you know, he sort of learnt to detach himself from the mind that's telling him that he can't live with himself, if that makes sense. So yeah, really interesting the way he sort of, you know, sees the mind and his self as two separate entities. And when I sort of got my head around that, it really, really helped me, because it means that you don't have to be what your mind's telling you. You know, you can look at your mind as just a voice that's telling you something that isn't, you know, necessarily true. So, you know, you need to identify when your mind is telling you things that aren't going to serve you, because just because your mind's telling you it doesn't mean it's true. And, you know, that's very important in terms of things like gratitude. You know, you could be a millionaire, you could have, you know, whatever you want in life. You know, like some people just want, you know, loads of girlfriends, loads of money, loads of supercars and a big house. So we'll use that as an example. That's not my ideal world, but, you know, some people have got all that and they're still not happy, you know, and then they try and get more and more and more and more things and they're still not happy. And then, you know, these people unfortunately end up going down the road of drugs or suicide. Whereas on the other hand, you could have someone who's like barely got any money, you know, has to walk miles every day to get water. You know, there's some people in the world that have really hard lives, but a lot of them would be really, really grateful for the small things in life. Like when they do manage to go and get some water and food for their family, like that will give them more joy than what some people will get from, you know, getting another £1 million supercar. So it's all relative. It's not what you've got, It's how your mind processes what you've got, essentially. So again, you need to be willing to not just listen to what your mind's saying. You know, you need to be focusing on the present moment, focusing on the things that you do have, and trying to be more grateful in life. And the thing is, this stuff's contagious, right? Because if you're really grateful, you know, to the people around you, you know, you can potentially make them more grateful and more happy, and it kind of spreads. And, you know, it works the other way as well. You know, if you're very negative and ungrateful, and, you know, people around you sort of see that, then it can make them really ungrateful and not happy with what they've got. And then, you know, you're spreading negativity and ungratefulness in the world. So, you know, even if you are surrounded by people that are negative and ungrateful, you know, try and be the one person in your group that is really grateful. Try and spread positivity in the world. Like, that's what I try and do. And if that means that some of the people that you knock around with now, you can't hang around with them anymore, then you wouldn't be the first person in the world that's had to, you know, drop people to improve yourself. So I think, as a little exercise, you know, anyone who's watching this video, just comment down below 3 things that you're grateful for. Don't put any thought into it, just the top 3 things that come into your head that you're grateful for. You know, whether you're having a hard time at the moment in life, or whether you're living the dream at the moment, drop in the comments 3 things that you're grateful for. It'll be an exercise in the comments of us all being grateful and spreading a bit more gratitude and positivity in the world. Now, before I end this video, I do want to mention a couple of things that I've decided to incorporate into my day-to-day life. Very simple things, but, you know, a lot of these things, when you're trying to improve your life, they are simple, but they are really effective. Now, the first one is I'm trying to become a nose breather. Now, that probably sounds quite weird, but there's a lot of science behind the fact that it is better to do the majority of your breathing through your nose. If you're naturally a mouth breather, you might be snoring a lot at night, for instance, but, you know, it's quite hard to sort of always breathe through your nose. You feel like you're not getting enough oxygen by breathing through your nose. Well, one thing I learned from Dr. Andrew Huberman, really interesting bloke. I learned loads of stuff from him. I've said before that a lot of the time I actually put on his podcasts whilst I'm trying to go to sleep. But yeah, I learned from him that it's actually possible, you know, over time for your sinuses to dilate. So you can train yourself to be a nose breather, and it can improve things. Like I said, you know, it can make you stop being a snorer. And yeah, there's loads of like scientific reasons why it's better to be a nose breather. Definitely look it up and, you know, try and incorporate that into your day. You know, if you're sort of doing excessive exercise, then obviously, you know, you're going to need to breathe through your mouth because you're going to be out of breath. But, you know, ideally, even if you're doing like a light jog or something, you want to try and get to the stage where you're breathing through your nose all the time. I've noticed that whilst, you know, I'm trying to consciously be a nose breather, you get to the point where it feels like you can get more breath and fill your lungs up better by breathing through your nose. Whereas I remember a time where breathing through my nose would make me out of breath in itself, which is really strange. Now, in terms of, you know, sleeping and snoring and stuff like that, there are people that actually sort of tape their lips together when they're asleep. That's not something that I've tried to do, but I think that's something that people do when, you know, when snoring and stuff like that's getting really bad. And you obviously use like special tape that's not super sticky, so that if during the night, you know, you really do need to breathe through your mouth, then, you know, it'll break, and you can do. But yeah, try it. Try and become a nose breather, just in your general day-to-day life. The other thing is that there's more sort of filter in your nose than there is in your mouth, you know, because you've got hairs and stuff in your nose, and, you know, if you trim your nostril hairs like I do, there's more sort of, you know, hairs and things that filter out the air further up your nose. So don't worry about, you know, not cutting your nostril hairs, but your nostrils are able to filter the air better than your mouth is. So there's a possibility there for you actually getting ill less often, because, you know, you're actually filtering the air that comes in more by becoming a nose breather. So yeah, go and do your own research on it. You know, like I say, anything I mentioned on my channel, go and do your own research on it. Just search on YouTube. There's loads of videos on YouTube for you to learn anything you want nowadays. You know, the internet is an awesome tool. But yeah, look it up and you'll see all the benefits of becoming a nose breather, including what I've just mentioned to you now, but others as well. And yeah, give it a go. The other thing that I've been trying to do for the last couple of weeks, and it sounds silly, but I've just been trying to smile more. When I'm walking around in my general day-to-day, like, I've noticed that my sort of resting face is a bit grim, and I think most people's are. You know, even if you're not feeling down, you know, like your face can be very sort of, you know. And what I've noticed by looking in the mirror is you can smile quite a lot before it looks silly, if you know what I mean. Like, if you sort of smiled yourself like that, you know, that kind of, without looking in the mirror, that kind of feels like you're, you know, walking around like, you know, looking stupid. But what you'll find is you can smile to a point that might feel like you look silly when it actually doesn't. So, you know, I'm sort of walking around now consciously just like that, which isn't, you know, it's not stupidly smiley, but it's better than walking around with a miserable face. And I find that whilst I'm doing that, whilst I'm consciously focusing on walking around with that little smile on, your eyes are a little bit more open and you just feel happier inside. You know, if I'm walking around the Tesco's with my girlfriend and I remember, oh yeah, I'm focusing on smiling, I do that and instantly I feel a bit lifted, you know. And it's another way of practicing being in the present moment. I've said before where, you know, if you think of it, like when you're on the way to work and you're stuck in traffic, use that moment, you know, oh yeah, I'm going to sit here and focus on my breath for a few seconds, just as a practice, like a mini meditation, if you like. Well, this is another way of doing that. You know, I'm walking around Tesco's and I remember, oh yeah, I'm focusing on smiling. I do that. It makes me feel better, as I've just explained. And because you're focusing on your smile in the now, you're automatically not going to be tripped up by thoughts that your mind brings up, which are usually future or past, that isn't true, because nothing is true except for the now. And yeah, it's another way of practicing living in the present moment, as well as making you feel a bit happier. And, you know, anyone that you come across in life, anyone who sort of crosses paths with you, crosses eyes with you, you're going to look like more of an inviting, happy person. If you're a single guy out there trying to find a girlfriend or attract women, just walking around with that little smile, looking a bit more happy, feeling a bit more happy, living in the present moment a bit more, is going to improve things a million times. So yeah, just a couple of little things that I've sort of been focusing on, and yeah, give them both a go and let me know what you think, because the way I'm living at the moment, it's key for me to continuously try and improve my life physically, mentally, spiritually. And yeah, I'm always trying to add little bits to my daily routine to do that. And that's the latest couple of things that I have sort of been trying to do. So for those of you that have made it to the end of this video, massive thanks for watching. Again, you know, try and be more grateful for the things that you do have in life, as well as trying to improve the things that you want to improve in life. And you'll find that when things do get better, because you are actively trying to improve your life, you'll find that you're going to be more grateful for them things when they come as well, and it's just going to snowball. You know, the momentum is going to mean that your improvements are going to mean so much more to you than they otherwise would. As always, do let me know what you think in the comments about what I've just said, and if there's anything else you want me to make a video about and give you my opinions on, based around, you know, self-improvement and the way that I choose to look at the world now as I try and stay clean, you know, put those in the comments as well. But yeah, massive thanks again for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.